Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rotoworld Football Show, Thursday, January 8th, 2026. I'm Patrick Daugherty. That is Denny Carter. If you're watching and see another human, if you're listening, it's Denny Carter.
Yes.
You're probably expecting that too. You might be expecting Kyle Dvorak as well. He's not here. We'll get to that in just 1 second. Coaching news to get to off the jump. Mike McDaniel joins John Harbaugh on the unemployment line. Like John Harbaugh, it might not be for long. 8 of the league's 32 head coaching jobs are open. Quarter of the league. 25%. Going to be a crazy coaching cycle. We'll talk about McDaniel. We'll talk about Harbaugh. Then we'll talk about the entire wild card round. Rams at Panthers, Packers at Bears, part 3 of their trilogy. Bills at Jaguars, one of the most fascinating games of the weekend, probably the most fascinating. 49ers, Eagles, Texans, Steelers, and then who's the other game here? Oh, and the NBC game, Chargers, Patriots. 6 games, super wild card weekend. I think they dropped the super branding.
Yeah, they did.
They dropped the super wildcard weekend. We're going to break the whole thing down. We will break down Kyle not being here. So Kyle, he's good at gaming, Denny, gaming in the betting sense. He's good at DFS. He's good at fantasy football. He had a plan this year, the Fiesta Bowl, Thursday evening, January 8th in Phoenix, Arizona. Kyle, he got out the college football playoff bracket. Kyle, he sees his Buckeyes.
Yep.
Kyle, a very unruly Ohio State fan. He doesn't even start watching the games until the Michigan game. He knows none of them matter. Even before that, he decided to be so good at DFS that he got sent there by a DFS company, DraftKings.
You may have heard
to watch the Fiesta Bowl. You may have heard of DraftKings. Solely, he targeted this contest because he knew, this is my theory at least, that he was going to be sent out there to see his Buckeyes. Guess what happened? Buckeyes not good.
Not good? Never good.
They lose to the U. The U is back, everybody. Kyle's in shambles. Kyle cannot stop crying. Have you noticed he's been pretty moody on the group text, actually?
Well, he had some travel issues, so I do understand the moodiness. But let's just put it this way, folks. Kyle did not enjoy my opinion of Cliff Kingsbury being a good coach.
That's a good segue, Denny. I don't know if I've ever had to apologize on the air for something I've said on the show before.
Awesome.
I do need to apologize to our listeners for going along with Denny's Cliff Kingsbury steam. I don't really know what happened to me. It was an hallucinatory moment. I was under his spell. I do not co-sign or agree with anything positive Denny said about Cliff Kingsbury on Tuesday.
Man.
Kyle was right. Kyle was basically screaming at Denny in our text.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Pumping up Cliff.
I thought I was clear in saying that it would be a bad hire, but it'd be fun for fantasy.
Let me be clear. You were not clear on that front. And let me be clear. I followed you along like a lemming, and it's like, to be honest, I think he's the best head coaching candidate of the past 10 years. Kingsbury.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Pump the brakes. I'm just saying he made Kyler Murray something for a little while.
Did he?
He did. Are you not remembering?
I'm remembering.
Kyler Murray for fantasy was pretty dang fun under Cliff until the injuries started to pile up, right? But and he was horrible under Gannon and Gannon's whole system. So anyway, I think Kingsbury did nothing wrong and should be. I mean, he should be a head coach, but definitely a good offensive coordinator somewhere.
I don't know. So good this year, he got fired by the Commanders.
Oh no, he didn't. He did not get fired. First of all,
he got fired.
Dan Quinn was like, "You were going to do things my way," and Cliff was like, "Yeah,
that's true." I will say, without even stripping away a bit an artifice, I almost never regret something I say on the show. Tuesday, I really did kind of instantly. Man, am I steaming Cliff Kingsbury? How did that happen?
Everybody's such a huge Cliff. I've never had strong feelings about him. But the hate has gone too far. I mean, there is a point where it's like, okay, this guy's actually better than most.
To Denny's credit, to Denny's point, I really don't agree on Cliff necessarily. He is not as bad, I think, as his reputation. Denny was ahead of the curve on rehabilitating Mike McCarthy. Where you're like, this is actually a pretty good hire in terms of fantasy for the Dallas Cowboys. You were focused more on fantasy, just like you are with Cliff.
Yeah.
But recognize that we probably took it a little too far with the McCarthy hate. The Cliff, though, why hire Cliff, Denny, when you have the better version of Cliff? Mike McDaniel is now out there. The 8th and presumably final job to open up this winter. Todd Bowles has announced he's staying in Tampa Bay. That was another spot we were watching. I guess Sean McDermott could be a potential 9th, depending on what happens against the Jaguars. But McDaniel, not a surprising one. it's always surprising when it's the firing week and it happens on Thursday instead of Monday. Leaving a guy twisting in the wind like that is the Dolphins have done it before, though. Not really unusual for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an indication they want to hire John Harbaugh.
I think it is. Yeah.
Opinions are all over the map on Mike McDaniel, very much including mine. Like sometimes I'm convinced like this guy, he's an OC trapped in a head coach's body. He cannot be a head coach. Like not really a leader of men necessarily. So good at being the guy who can sit in his office and design plays. Inarguable. He's probably one of the at least 8 or 9 best play callers in the league, especially if that was the only thing he could focus on. But some people think he could still be more than just an offensive coordinator. Where do you fall on the Mike McDaniel scale? Where, like, to me, honestly, I posted this. I really think the Ravens and the Dolphins should just trade coaches. The Ravens the next 3 or 4 years need to be all about maximizing what remains of Lamar Jackson's prime. Eric DaCosta can handle the defensive side of the ball. He provides the personnel there. He can tell McDaniel who he wants to be the defensive coordinator, basically. I feel like McDaniel with Lamar would be amazing.
I do too.
So do you think McDaniel should be a head coach? Maybe where do you think he should go?
No, I don't think he should be a head coach. I think he would be better suited to be an offensive coordinator, but like, total control of the offense. In Baltimore, I would think that the optimal setup for McDaniel would be to have a defensive guy as the head coach and for McDaniel to get the whole offense to himself. But you'd have to get the right kind of coach who knows how to delegate, who trusts him to handle all things Lamar.
No one's going to trust Mike McDaniel. Like no defensive-minded head coach would ever quote unquote trust Mike McDaniel. Like a guy, they are so distrustful of the guys who only like make up plays.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do. You're probably right. I will say that he did so much with Tua before this year. Now, I hate to do this thing where it's like, well, just throw out the bad year, and he was actually good. But when you lose Tyreek Hill early in the season, I mean, he was the linchpin of everything the Dolphins.
Also, though, like was the only thing propping Mike McDaniel up a Hall of Famer. Tyreek Hill. Probably one of the 10 or 12 most effective, game-changing receivers in the history of the league.
He certainly helped. I mean, when Tua was making the EPA machine go burr, I mean, I have some stats here. I guess I'll just read them. Tua in 2023, so not that long ago, had the same EPA per dropback as Josh Allen. Okay, like that's pretty.
This is more about the computers. I
agree. From 2022 to 2024, Miami was 8th in offensive success rate, 6th in dropback success rate. He kept the chains moving with Tua, and I think Tua was exposed this year to the point where people could see, even like Tua supporters could see, like, oh man, this guy's not good. Like he just can't do anything himself, right? And that worked when they were all healthy and the offensive line was healthy and they had Tyreek and Waddle and everything, and they're running crossers and no one can stop them. And Tua's just, I mean, how many times do we see Tua just lob a ball 40 yards downfield and Tyreek will come down with it because he's that good. So I think McDaniel doesn't get enough credit as someone who managed Tua, who's like a borderline starter. Yes. And with a guy like Lamar, I think he could absolutely cook.
It'd be supernova level. I really think it'd be worth with 8 openings, 7 of them that did not just employ Mike McDaniel. There's so many openings at this point. I think all 3 of the major retreads, Harbaugh, McDaniel, and Kevin Stefanski, are going to get new jobs. Mm-hmm. So I think like getting McDaniel as an offensive coordinator is probably a pipe dream. Right. I think he's just a perfect fit for the Ravens. I really, really do. He does not scream Ravens culture. I will admit that at all. Hard hitting, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed. Mike McDaniel is not going to be part of that lineage.
I mean, Ray Lewis might like lay down in front of the team facility to make sure Mike McDaniel can't drive into the parking lot. Like he's going to want nothing to do with this guy.
No.
I think it's actually culturally a horrible fit for him to be at the head of it.
The Ravens, though, the next 2 or 3 years, it's all about salvaging what remains of Lamar Jackson's prime.
Yeah, I mean, getting to a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, because really you're running out of time.
You are, and Lamar Lamar, just like Josh Allen, has never had a head coach who is not let alone his play caller, never even had an offensive minded head coach.
Yeah, true.
And it's just like you're kind of leaving meat on the bone. I really think they should hire an offensive minded guy. We've already made this point several times. Who can be like not just Lamar's play caller, but basically his quarterback's coach. Like mind meld with Lamar.
Yes.
Get a Super Bowl out of these next 3 years with Lamar Jackson.
Ian Rappaport reported the other day that the Ravens are looking for someone who can, quote, invigorate Lamar Jackson.
It's McDaniel.
That he needs invigoration is, an issue, I think.
It's a concern.
It's a little concerning. The motivation I would hope would be internal, but apparently he's going to need some invigoration. So that's Mike McDaniel. He comes in there. He's running around like, he's very
McDaniel's not going to rah invigorate him either. It's going to be like, this is what I can do for you.
Yeah, he's going to be like in his ear about everything. Like John Harbaugh wasn't playing that game. Like either he was,
or maybe he used to and was just over it. And that happens sometimes with really big egos in sports. Like two guys can only stand each other for so long, and they only spark for so long.
Yeah,
it was over.
But we keep talking about Lamar, but like I would love to see what Mike McDaniel could do with Isaiah Likely, with Mark Andrews, with Zay Flowers, even Rashad Bateman, who when healthy is a nice downfield option. Like there are some pieces in this Baltimore offense that could really do something with a guy who's like in on the latest in NFL offensive trends and exploiting defensive tendencies. That's what Mike McDaniel has done really for most of his time in Miami. Now this year is a little different.
Even Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell. Mike McDaniel, I think at heart, I think he's claimed he's like a run first guy.
Yeah, he's a shanty guy. Yeah,
he's a shanty guy, and it would be almost a perfect personnel fit. Again, we don't know about culture fit for Mike McDaniel of the Ravens. That's one I'm really keeping an eye on. If he doesn't get a head coaching job, I would say so. The Bucs just fired Josh Grizzard, their offensive coordinator. We'll talk about that opening more when the Bucs hire somebody. Josh Grizzard, I guess, didn't do a good job. I don't know. Maybe it had to do more with Baker Mayfield wrecking his shoulder, though. Grizzard's a fall guy. They kept Todd Bowles. Like it's the classic. They expect one of us in the wreckage. Josh Grizzard is the fall guy, the scapegoat there. McDaniel would be probably an amazing fit in Tampa Bay, like almost like unspeakably good fit. And then another one, Denny, if Clint Kubiak leaves Seattle, which probably will, Mike McDaniel would slide in almost perfectly. I know that Mike McDaniel wasn't reading all that with Ryan Grubb and didn't like the fancy stuff. Mike McDaniel was someone much more familiar with the NFL game.
Right.
From the Shanty tree, I think would fit in really well in Seattle as well.
I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, if you're from the Shanahan tree, you're going to continue to get chances because everybody wants a piece of that, right? Everybody wants a little of that. Like, hey, this guy's like making the spreadsheets really churn right now.
Yes.
And Mike McDaniel can do that. His leadership, I don't know. I mean, his press conferences were brutal this year. Like watching him spin and try to come up with ways to blame himself and not his players, but sometimes sort of lean on his players. The excuses, it wasn't good. He needs to stay away from the microphones and just draw plays.
That could be a similar problem in Baltimore, we'll say. Mike McDaniel, one of the most fascinating candidates on the cycle. John Harbaugh is the most fascinating because of his resume. 18 years of almost constant success in Baltimore, but more than going on a decade now of playoff futility, though. And, choking is always an overused word in sports, but coming up short in big games, the biggest moments of the game, seeming to have an uncanny ability to make the wrong call. I guess, though, he had a lot of bad luck. Like
that's what I'm saying, Pat.
Yeah, he had a lot of bad luck.
I've been arguing with Ravens fans online who are like, we're free. We're finally free. I'm like, man, you've got to be careful what you wish for. Like, you have no idea how horrible it is to not have a legit coach. Ask the Jets, the Browns to an extent. Like you had one, and you went away from it. And now hopefully you can land a decent one, but definitely not to the caliber of John Harbaugh. I really think in the end, it's going to be a mistake that they parted ways. Mark Andrews, if he doesn't have two of the worst drops anyone's ever seen last year in the postseason, then totally different situation. John Harbaugh's still there. Everybody's good. there's no questions about John Harbaugh.
Well, even if Tyler Loop, say, just makes a field goal. And
Yeah.
our guy, Aditya Fuldiore, broke it down social media, like going through this, the astounding bad luck John Harbaugh had the past.
Oh, really?
decade.
Okay. I didn't
but Harbaugh too, though, your job is to coach the players you have. He has Lamar Jackson, a superstar, and for whatever reason, they were not on the same page. And players get too much of a pass for this, especially in the modern game. But I don't know, Harbaugh didn't make it work. And I guess that's more than the playoff disappointments. I'm sure the reason he's gone is that him and Lamar were just kind of at a loggerheads. But is there any way you really? What you saying?
Sorry, but Harbaugh reportedly refused to fire Munkin, Todd Munkin, right? And so that was the end of the line, because that's what they do with head coaches who are in precarious spots. The ownership brings them in and says, you got to axe the following guys and you can stay. And sometimes they don't. Doug Peterson said no to that deal in Philadelphia, and they said, okay, we'll get out of here. Todd Bowles was like, yeah, we're throwing everybody out. Like,
Josh, never heard of him.
Like, give me the bus. I'm running over everybody.
You tell me Josh Grizzard's a real name. I'm
right. I personally, Mr. Owner, I've never heard of him. You can let that guy go. So yeah, Bowles took the opposite approach. Harbaugh said, no, I'm not firing my guy. I mean, I respect that.
Harbaugh, where do you want him to go? I want him to go to Cleveland, and I don't know why. I have absolutely no idea why I would want anyone to go to Cleveland. It just seems like a pretty natural fit for him for some reason.
I will say that I kind of forgot when I said that the other day during a video on demand that we did. You can check it out on Rotoworld. When I said the Harbaugh to Cleveland thing, I kind of forgot that they're still on the hook with Deshaun Watson's contract.
Yep, they are. It's never been more over.
That to me, that might be like a thing that means that like real head coaching candidates are like, no, thank you.
Harbaugh, what do you think the odds are he's going to the Dolphins? I would say 51%. I would say greater than a coin flip.
I mean, I think McDaniel, it's not a coincidence that McDaniel was fired like shortly after Harbaugh left.
It's kind of been an open secret. I don't really know why, but Dolphins fans have talked constantly about they want Harbaugh. And I don't remember if they're smoked that fire or if it's just they know that's the kind of guy Stephen Ross would be drawn to normally. But that's been like an undercurrent in Dolphin land for a while that they want McDaniel, they want Harbaugh. And
it's hard to go to a place with no quarterback, though.
It is. Sorry, I'm having trouble keeping my throat clear today. I'm looking at the other teams here. Harbaugh, Cardinals, he won't even take the phone call.
No, good.
No. Falcons, he would probably take the Falcons job if nothing better is open.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'd probably rather take the Falcons job than the Giants job.
Ooh, I was thinking how cool it would be for Mike McDaniel to coach Bijan Robinson. My goodness. I mean, like that running back centric offense. Like it would just be like cool things for Bijan. That's
the thing is like McDaniel in Atlanta. It would be just like a shot for shot remake of McDaniel with the Dolphins.
Really?
Like, yeah, it would be. Gus Van Sant in the 90s did a literal shot for shot remake of the film Psycho. That's what would be Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel with the Falcons, like the meme, like my guy just stepped back. The weight loss meme. You know what I'm talking about? My guy didn't do nothing but step back.
Oh man,
that would be McDaniel with the Falcons. I think.
Eberflus, by the way, was fired as defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, and I was thinking about how he almost saved himself with the what did you call it? Not the makeover, but
the glow up.
The glow up.
Yeah. The glow up bought him time, but yeah.
I saw a recent picture of him. He hasn't been glowed up recently. Maybe
it depends on the day. I saw a pretty glowed Cowboys picture of him, actually.
Okay.
You're right. Most of the year he was not, though.
No. You gotta go get that glow up, dude.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel, he just stepped back if he ends up with the Falcons, but we'll talk more about the coaches next week. We could have a hiring or two by the time we rejoin you next week. We have the playoffs or 6 wonderful games this weekend in the wild card round, beginning with the worst game, but it is a playoff game. It's the Rams in Carolina. They're seeking vengeance for losing there 6 weeks ago. The NFL finally found a playoff team uninspiring enough to take the 4:30 p.m. Eastern Saturday baton away from the Texans. We're losing recipes. We're losing heritage. We're losing American culture. But the Texans have been booted from the 4:30 p.m. Eastern wildcard game as the 8-9 Panthers are hosting the 12-5 Rams, Denny. as decisive 2-score underdogs. Start from the top. It's not fake bulletin board material to say no one is giving the Panthers a chance. No one is giving the Panthers a chance, even though they won this exact game a month and a half ago. I know you were sort of giving them a chance, but what gives you hope? Are you prepared to just go all the way and say the Panthers are going to win, which would be crazy? Don't do that.
Is it crazy? Okay.
It's crazy.
All right. I think they match up well. Of course, they have to have pretty much everything go right, and they have to make sure that the ball is essentially taken out of Bryce Young's hands, I think. And that's what they did last time they played the Rams when they upset them in week 13. The Panthers had a 33% neutral pass rate against LA that day. Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard split 35 rushing attempts. Bryce Young only threw 20 passes. Now that's the recipe. I think that if they can do that against a kind of pretty bad, sort of bad Rams front seven that has shown like major holes recently, I think that this game can at least be very close, uncomfortably close for the Rams.
I'm just not seeing it. Bryce Young he doesn't have a ceiling. He does not have a ceiling.
I know. I totally agree. I'm with you on that.
Like Dowdle and Chuba both, are either of them even anywhere close to 100% health? To do another weird thing, I feel like McMillan hit the rookie wall about as hard as anyone has ever hit it the past few weeks.
Right. Totally. I totally agree. And by the way, I'm pulling these stats, most of these stats from a piece that I'm going to have on the DraftKings 6-game slate, which that'll be on the on Rotoworld on Friday morning if folks want to check that out. But they're getting back. So the Panthers are getting back offensive guard Rob Moore, who's been out with an elbow injury.
You're going to mention a guard. I mean, a guard.
He is probably their best run blocker.
It's probably pretty important.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I wouldn't normally mention it, but for a team that desperately wants to keep it on the ground, I think that actually is probably a big thing. The Rams offensively, I think, can get by here, but defensively, I think that they could have a really hard time like getting the Panthers off the field, and that's what we saw in week 13.
We did, but the Panthers converted like multiple fourth downs in that game. The way I kind of look at this is the Rams defense has kind of turned into its weakness. Like, so thank God their weakness is facing the Panthers offense. This is kind of how I look like, how do you beat the Rams? It's you pick apart their crumbling defense. I just don't think the Panthers can do that. And it's more of like a get right spot for the Rams than it is like a spot of hope for the Panthers. It is the playoffs. It's not great for the Rams. It's Saturday and they're flying from Southern California. That's always a factor.
That's another thing.
It's Sean McVay though. That doesn't usually affect
like sleepy West Coast team goes to the East Coast. I don't know. I'm thinking I would, if I were a Rams fan, and I'm not, I would be very uncomfortable about this game.
Well, speaking of the Rams, one cause for like hope, they're getting back Davante Adams finally. Seemed like he probably could have played in week 18 if he really needed to, but they had the benefit of giving him essentially another bye week to get his hamstring healthy. How badly did this offense need back its rim finisher, Davante Adams, its goal line running back?
Pretty bad, because they've been pretty bad inside the 10-yard line since he's been on the sideline. And that's because like the whole plane was made out of just throw it to Davante. And no one was able to stop it. Here's the thing that I think folks can relate to. If you were playing against Davante Adams this year in fantasy and the Rams were inside the 10, you're like, okay, all right, defense, you know what to do. You know what's coming. Get on this guy. Remember Calvin Johnson one year in the playoffs against the Saints? The Saints had like 3 guys on him at the goal line.
It was a famous meme at the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it worked, by the way. Detroit like could not punch it in because that was their only plan, right? To throw it to Megatron. Why are teams not doing that against Adams? It's their only thing. Anyway.
Well, it probably is because obviously they should be doing that more, but he's not even the best receiver on the team
I know.
Is the problem. And that's where, too, it comes in a quarterback who has seen every look, a coach who is prepared for every look. That's how this is the story of the Sean McVay Rams, basically. How is Cooper Kupp always wide open over the middle of the field?
Yeah, sure.
How is Puka Nacua always wide open? How can no one cover Devontae Adams at the goal line? Obviously, all elite players, but also a coach who just puts everyone in the right spot all the time. And that's how you get things like Devontae Adams, Denny, he played in 14 games, so he missed 3. He scored 14 touchdowns. That was 3 more than any other pass catcher. He scores 3 more touchdowns than any other receiver despite missing 3 games.
Yeah,
that's how truly lethal he was at the goal line.
Yeah, it's big for Stafford. Stafford's going to be popular in DFS contests this week, but he's going to be extra popular because Adams is likely back here.
Danny, but someone, I don't know if we have this on the site yet. The Lions have interviewed Mike McDaniel for their offensive coordinator.
Ooh.
Guy needs to take a head coaching job, Mike.
Maybe
Mike's out. Maybe Mike doesn't want a head coaching. Like, dude, I did the head coaching thing.
Yeah,
not for me, bro.
I think I'm a little surprised that you think he can be a head coach. I think he'll never be a head coach again.
No, he will be. It's the Cliff thing, though. The reason he's gonna be a head coach is because that's the price you pay to get him in the building. Like, I think every team knows. Ideally, he'd be our play caller, but so many teams want him to be our play caller. Like, that's how you get him. Like, you're the head coach.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of like in baseball negotiations. Like, everyone knows they shouldn't give this guy the 8th year on the contract, but that's our advantage in the talks.
Okay.
I think it's kind of a similar situation. Mike McDaniel, we'll talk about that again more and more. State of Kyron Williams versus Blake Corum heading into the postseason. It was a 1-2 punch, 1A, 1B situation, almost the entire stretch run.
So, first of all, the Panthers are getting back some defensive players that they did not have in Week 13 against the Rams. The defensive coordinator for Carolina has said, like, our focus is on shutting down the run. I mean, seems a little iffy considering, Stafford and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, but whatever.
That's Panthers football right there.
I'm just reporting the facts here. I will say that the Rams did pretty much anything they wanted to do against the Panthers on the ground when they played in Week 13. But they had to abandon it in the fourth quarter because they had been down. They were down by a couple scores. They had to kind of play hurry up and pass it. But that meant that Kyron Williams and Blake Corum both saw pretty good workloads here. I'm looking for the exact numbers. 152 rushing yards combined on 20 carries for 4.1 yards per carry. I do think that Kyron Williams is a pretty good play here. But you lose out on the goal line stuff with both of these guys because Adams is back. So you have to like strip away those really valuable touches near the goal line. It's just not going to happen here.
It's going to be Monangai season. We'll get to that in a minute, though. DFS, Denny, any Carolina Panthers you like? You talk about the Rams defense, you're acting like it barely exists. Surely there's actually some Panthers you want to fire up, or are you a hypocrite?
I'm not a hypocrite. I have some sicko Panthers. You know,
Denny's one of the least hypocritical people ever. So
when I say sicko stuff, I mean it. So if you're building a lineup and you anticipate, I'm sorry if you hear my dog, he'll shut up in a minute. If you anticipate the Panthers being super run heavy, then you're going to want Dowdle or Hubbard, but probably not both in your lineup. If not, if you think the Panthers will be facing a deficit here, it sounds like Pat here for some reason thinks that.
And they are 2-score underdogs. So
consider Tommy Tremble, the tight end, as a cost-saving play against LA. Bryce Young has targeted Panthers tight ends heavily against zone coverage in 2025, and hardly any team plays more zone coverage than the LA Rams. Tremble last week ran a route on 86% of Bryce Young's dropbacks with Jatavian Sanders on injured reserve. He caught a touchdown. No one's talking about it, but he did.
No one is. Ben Trimble season. You're actually not kind of kidding that it's Ben Trimble season.
It's Tremble. I'm sorry, but it's Tremble season. He also, so Bryce Young, this won't shock anyone. Against zone coverage, he ditches his wide receivers and he checks down to his tight ends and his running backs. So if you're anticipating negative game script for Carolina, those are the players who are going to benefit.
I'm going to try to avoid Panthers at all costs in my playoff DFS lineups, just because
crazy.
I'm not strategic at all. This is one reason why, because I know if I actually want to make money, I'd have to play Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, you got to feel gross once in a while.
You do. I'm totally unwilling to do that. Meeting up for part 3 of an NFC North trilogy, the number 2 seed Bears are hosting the Packers as narrow home underdogs, Denny. To be honest, this strikes me as having a little too much faith in the Packers, even if I recognize the Bears are pretty weak for a number 2 seed. Do you agree with the line? And what do you expect? Who do you expect to win this contest?
First of all, this is a blood feud. Not just between the franchises, but between the head coaches.
Well, and the fans too.
Oh, no, that's what I mean. I mean, the fans, the franchise, that goes without saying. But Ben Johnson, I feel like, took this job specifically to troll Matt LaFleur. Like, really? He in his introductory press conference, he was like, "Yeah, I get to keep beating Matt LaFleur," you know, because he tormented the Packers as the Lions offensive coordinator. And then their handshake at the end of that game where DJ Moore caught the game-winning touchdown, handshake, that was the coldest head coaching handshake outside of Belichick ever.
Well, I was going to say, this is becoming a theme with Ben Johnson, though. Like, every opposing coach hates him. Like, he's already mastered the art of the chili. Even with Dan Campbell, like, it was really chilly with Ben Johnson.
I know,
I'm trying to not get ahead of myself. The evil mastermind energy has not been this strong since Bill Belichick. He's got so much evil mastermind energy.
And you know, if you're going to do the evil mastermind bit, you got to win.
You do. Because that's why Josh McDaniels could not pull it off, because he could not win. He didn't actually scare the players. Ben Johnson is winning. He actually kind of scares the players.
Colson Loveland had a quote today where he was like, "I'm scared." He's like, "Coach told us, like, if we're even like thinking about like booking a vacation over the next 5 weeks, we should just get out of the building." And I was like, wow,
that's actually true. If I caught a player that had a trip booked, I would cut them. I know some of these places are really competitive, but really hard to get into.
No. I'm totally with you. Anyway, all right, let's get into this game. Who do I think will win?
Why are the Packers favored? I think this is the Bears are definitely kind of fraudulent. They could have easily been 8-9 instead of 11.
The Bears defense is a problem, and a problem for the Bears, I should say.
This defense is a problem.
It's a problem for themselves. They rely on stuff that is tough to rely on. They rely on, turnovers, on sack fumbles, on, stuff that is just a really like volatile, hard to repeat stuff. They don't pressure the passer at a high rate at all. Jordan Love just cooks defenses when he's not pressured. I feel like, look, Matt LaFleur could turtle here and be like, "We're just
could." I mean, it's all
Matt. I'm begging you, man. Pretend like Malik's in there, man. Just
start him. Just start him.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, he's not nearly as good as Jordan Love, but just start him.
Call a good game, Matt. I like Matt LaFleur. I want to like Matt LaFleur.
I don't like him. I don't want to like him.
I feel that way about Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, I'm sparking a little bit with his evil genius energy. I should look.
I'm not sparked at all. I like Matt LaFleur. I like his clean cut haircut. I like the cut of his jib. That's what I'm saying.
LaFleur takes Shanny defeatist energy to like an entirely new level. Like, it's insane.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I hate it. Anyway, I do, as far as DFS goes, I do like some Jordan Love stacks here. I think this game could be somewhat, I don't want to say shootout, but the weather's not going to be an issue. Okay, it's not going to be like one of these like horrible windy games.
It's just normal, extremely cold. It's Soldier Field instead of historic,
like in the 30s, which is better than last time when the Bears shut off the heat on the Packers sideline.
Yeah, no way that's going to happen again.
So obviously, like a Love stack would be include Christian Watson, who went for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bears in Week 14, and maybe Jaden Reed, who actually led the Packers with a 24% target per route run in Week 14. I think those two guys are interesting. I guess you throw Josh Jacobs in there because, hey, he never doesn't score a touchdown. When he's healthy and in there. Now he's not healthy, but this Bears defense can be had on the ground as well.
So from the DFS perspective, are you trusting anyone other than Watson? Maybe Reed. You're not getting weird with Dobbs or Bo Melton or Dante.
Right. No, here's
Tucker
the thing
Kraft still play.
So he does.
Not Tucker Kraft. Sorry, Luke Musgrave.
Musgrave. Dude, same thing.
It's insane. I don't know why they're impossible to separate. Even though
here's the thing about DraftKings postseason pricing is that they definitely soften it up and they make it so that folks who are done with their redraft leagues can jump in and make lineups without sweat too much. You can jam. I mean, you can make a kind of a silly lineup.
You're right. Postseason DFS, you don't have to get nearly a sicko. Which is maybe one reason why I actually do well in it compared to
right. It's and so you can have like money left over, is what I'm saying, and that's okay. If you're trying to get different.
Where I come from, I've not in my world.
You're spending every dollar.
Axiom 101. Even if it makes the lineup worse, you spend every $100.
right. Even if it goes against everything that you believe will happen. So I think Jordan Love and his pass catchers will be a very low rostered option here. And I like them way better than Caleb Williams and his pass catchers against this Packers defense.
Denny, what did it say about the Bears receiver rotation entering the postseason? Roma Dunze out since week 13. It appears he's going to be back. How does that change or complicate things?
So Odunze is actually in a pretty good spot here, except for the volume. And because no one's going to likely see target volume here unless the Bears just get down, big time and have to ditch the run. The Packers have seen a 46% neutral pass rate against them over the past 7 weeks. 46%, right? So they are, by that standard, the most extreme run funnel defense in the NFL. Now, Ben Johnson, I think he's going to take that invitation and say, okay, like you guys are basically inviting teams to run against you. We'll do that. The Bears are in the bottom 10 in neutral pass rate over the second half of the season. I do think that DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai could see volume here. I'm tired of doing the Monangai thing personally, because DeAndre Swift sees so many valuable touches, as in, the targets out of the backfield and then the inside the 5 work. I know Monangai is the bigger back, but Swift has been seeing more of that inside the 5 work than Monangai. So I don't know if I'm willing to get cute with Monangai. But Swift is a great play if the Bears are able to play the way they want to play.
Well, you said the Packers are a run funnel, and you don't want the actual run first running back on the Chicago Bears, Kyle Monangai.
Well,
Andrew Swift's a fraud. He's not actually even a running back.
I know. No, I get it. And I've been in on Monangai in recent weeks because the Bears have had good matchups against other run funnels, but Monangai's profile is that of kind of a between the 20s guy. So really what you would need there is kind of a long rushing touchdown. If he doesn't get it, you're kind of cooked. There are very few outs from an guy.
My only thing on not really jibing with the Packers being favored is I really do view it as a coin flip. The game's in Chicago. If it's a coin flip, I just feel like the Bears should be the coin flip. I feel like it should be Bears minus 2.5. I don't know why. Why? The bookmakers just can't get over certain teams. They could not get over the Raiders. They can't get over the Packers. This is not the Micah Parsons Packers, though. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. By a lot of metrics, the Packers are a better point differential, for instance. The defense, though, was not really playing very well. I just don't really understand. The Bears very well could be fraudulent. They're here because of an easy schedule, not to the extent that the Patriots are. But I don't think the Packers are better. I really don't.
I mean, the Lions were sort of embarrassing the Bears for a while last week. And that was a Lions team that had basically no offensive line starters remaining by season.
The Lions were a hard luck team this year by most of it. I think they scored the 6th most points in the NFL still. And they had a good point differential. They're a hard luck team. They'll be an interesting team in the offseason. Interesting time to take a quick break. We will be right back after this. The countdown is on to NBA All-Star Weekend. Vote daily with your NBA ID to help shape the U.S. versus World All-Star rosters in the NBA app. Every vote gives you a chance to win a free trip to the NBA All-Star Game in 2026. Catch the action February 13th through 15th on NBC and, of course, streaming on Peacock. Love the NBA All-Star Game. Do a lot of new formats. The NBA All-Star Game.
So many. I can't even keep up.
It is hard to keep up. Every team is having. Every single league has an identity crisis over its All-Star Game. Maybe just let the best players play each other.
I know, man.
Conferences.
I know. Can I say one thing about Roma Dunze before we go on?
You can.
I wanted to mention that. So if he has a full complement of routes here, which I think is somewhat questionable considering how much time he's missed, he's in a pretty good spot. He plays almost entirely from the boundary, and the Packers secondary has been vulnerable against the boundary. They've given up the league's third highest adjusted yards per attempt and the sixth highest completion rate to boundary receivers since week 10. Dunze is not going to be played, period. So what I would say is, if you're in on the Love, Watson, Reed thing, and maybe Jacobs, then you throw in a Dunze as a run back. That's
I was to say, but it's called running it back, which then you said before I could even say it. Yeah, if I were one of the quote unquote big four North American professional sports leagues, I would simply stop having a nervous breakdown over my All-Star Game format. But that is neither here nor there. What is here and there is Bills, Jaguars, probably the most intriguing game of the weekend. And as the upstart Jags hosting the stalwart Bills, I would say surprising home underdogs, Denny. Second game in a row, I'm saying that. I've become a Jags believer. But I can understand the Bills' respect. I think it's a different situation than the Packers. That's because of Josh Allen. But is this team just too flawed to take advantage of Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow being out of the playoffs? It should be the Bills' year. A lot of reason to believe it won't be the Bills' year, though.
It's a horrible spot for the Bills' offense, and that's why I'm playing them in DFS. because look, I just from a DFS standpoint, everybody's going to be like, "Wow, the Bills, this is a bad spot, and they stink." Same with the Eagles, by the way. And so just be aware of that when you're building lineups. Large field tournaments only. Anyway, yeah. So here's the thing: the Jags defense is good against the pass. They're way better against the run, and the Bills, their only plan is to run the ball. It's actually a James Cook centric offense recently, more than a Josh Allen centric. And the Jags have every chance to take away James Cook here. I'm going to have the metrics and the numbers in my article. Folks want to check that out tomorrow, but I don't know how James Cook is going to get it done here. And that means Josh Allen's going to have to drop back more than they want. And who's he throwing to? He's throwing to two slot guys, basically, Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir. And the Jaguars, everywhere you cut it, Jacksonville has a good matchup here. The Jaguars best against the slot this year by almost every metric. So I don't know how those guys are going to do it, right? So what are you left with? You're left with the boundary Tyrell Shavers. I don't even know who you're left with here for who can make a difference for the Bills. I guess you're left with can Josh Allen go Superman mode?
Which it's not a great plan. It's not the worst plan because I ranked the playoff teams 1 to 14, and if any player in the playoff field can do it by himself, it is Josh Allen. Of course, he'll never be truly by himself, but I kind of think the winner of this game is going to win the AFC, Denny. That's because I think the Jaguars are the best team in the AFC at this point. Just a little more well-rounded than the Patriots. I think the Patriots are good. I actually don't think the Patriots are frauds, but I think they're the most well-rounded, full-bodied team in the AFC playoff field. And so I think they're better than the Bills. I think they'll win this game. But for all the reasons you just laid out, if the Bills can win this sort of matchup nightmare that the Jaguars are presenting, and especially on the road, then it might just be team of destiny time for the Bills. And I really do think the winner of this game is probably going to go to the Super Bowl.
All right. And then, but there's another complication. I'm sorry to report to Bills fans. So they're already missing Ed Oliver, who's
doesn't matter. It's Josh Allen playing. All I care about.
All right, move on to the next game.
No, sorry.
Yeah, Ed Oliver is already on IR. They didn't open his practice window this week, so he's not going to play. They could be without another defensive tackle, Jordan Phillips, who on Wednesday, no, they will be without him because he was placed on IR with an ankle injury. So you're missing your two run stuffers.
This is kind of what the Bills do. They place a guy in IR every 45 minutes on defense.
I feel like the Bills are uniquely set up to get railroaded here.
They should. Like if the Jaguar, I'd almost be concerned if the Jaguars don't railroad the. I frankly do not understand how the Bills are favored. I guess I do. It's because they have Josh Allen. They're the most experienced team in the AFC field. They're the only one with like a pedigree, really. And it's a pretty like jumbled group of teams, but I just think it's a little too much respect to be giving them. And that the Bills, the deck was cleared for them, but they're just a little too flawed, I think, to really pull it off at the end of the day. But that's why if they can beat this Jaguars team, I think they're less flawed than maybe we were led to believe. So
yeah, producer Adam tells us that Bills cornerback Maxwell Hairston is probably not going to play. He's a starter. Like that's another starter who's got their starting safety didn't practice on Wednesday because of an illness. I mean, it's an illness.
Talking about safeties. I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm gonna spend the next 15 minutes talking about everything the Bills are missing, and you're gonna go, oh, whatever. It doesn't even matter.
Is Josh Allen's foot attached? The answer is yes. They said he feels great, by the way. I'm
Yeah,
sure they're telling the truth.
And also, they're playing before you're playing in a hostile stadium. These fans are going to be rabid.
They are. And like, listen, a lot of stadiums you can't really trust the fans to be too liquored up anymore. I have faith in the Duval faithful to be creating a hostile college style environment, kind of like the Bills would up in Old Buffalo. A few follow-up questions, Denny.
Yeah.
So first off, if the Jaguars win this game, do you agree with me? They're the AFC favorites, or am I drinking a little too much Jacksonville Kool-Aid?
Let me think here. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would put them over the Broncos for sure.
They beat the Broncos by 2 scores in Denver.
The Broncos are not good. Let's be real.
They're just not.
The Broncos are not good.
No. Do you want to know? We're going to talk about the Broncos. Let me read you from my article real quick. The Broncos. Yeah. These are all wins, mind you, but since Thanksgiving, these are things the Broncos have done. They beat Marcus Mariota's Commanders by 1 point. They beat the Raiders by 1 score. They beat Chris Oladokun by 1 score. And as we all saw in Week 18, they took them 4 quarters to put away a Chargers team playing their second and third team players.
They messed around.
Those are wins. I guess, I mean, you could credibly come back with me. You just described 4 victories. That is true.
Whatever.
But it just seems like a team that is not ready for prime time. And
no, absolutely not. Yeah, I would think the Jags are the odds-on favorite.
They really should. This is a 1 to 53 man roster, and like it quote unquote came together. The Jags after Thanksgiving went 6-0 with 121 point differential.
Wow,
like they are annihilating teams right now. Like it's pretty nuts. So yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars are very good. You talk about so the Jags from how good they are, and this is why you're going to start the Bills in DFS. Like who are you specifically really honing in on for the Bills in DFS, Denny?
Well, look, I mean, if you think it's going to be a trailing script for the Bills, and I do, then I mean, you could do worse than have Josh Allen having 40 dropbacks. You know, he's got to throw it to somebody. Dalton Kincaid gets targeted on like 28% of his routes, which is insane. He's practicing in a limited capacity. Should be fine, I guess. You know, Khalil Shakir would be a play as well. If you want to get super cute, and I don't recommend this, but there is the Gabe Davis situation, and my guy Gabe is out for blood against his former teammates. So we'll see. We'll see about that. 4
touchdowns in the divisional round in his past.
But honestly, I mean, we've seen this before in DFS. You can get there with Josh Allen. Now, this is a phrase that folks use in DFS. Josh Allen naked. Just means him alone. Him alone. Yes.
Josh Allen is, by the way, so I love that 6-0, 121 point differential stat. My other favorite, like hot heading into the playoff stat, the Seahawks defeated half of the NFC playoff field that wasn't them. So of the 6 non-NFC teams weren't the Seahawks have beaten them in the past 3 weeks. So they beat half the NFC playoff field in just the past 3 weeks. We want to talk about a team like maybe peaking at the right time. Did I have final Jaguars receiver rotation, Denny? Is it just Jacoby Myers' world and we're living in it at this point? Parker Washington, it's clearly the best receiver in the NFL. Like anything new here?
It's Parker Washington's world, actually. Honestly, I mean, Washington has like checked a lot of like the wide receiver 1 boxes.
Yes, it's disturbing. That's another reason why the Jags, like they're just doing it, man. like they're not being self-conscious about Parker Washington being their best receiver right now. There's like, we do not care. We're going to throw the ball to Parker Washington.
Right. I got to say though, our guy Bashal Tutin, I think this is it. I think this is it for him. I think that he's going to see some volume here. He's not going to be the lead back. That's still Travis Etienne. I said the right one, right?
You did.
Okay, good.
Trevor.
Yeah, not Trevor. But so the Jags, and I mentioned this in my piece, against run funnel defenses this year, which is what the Bills are to an extreme degree, they have leaned hard on the run. Otherwise, they've been kind of pass heavy, right? Or at least pass first, but not when they can actually get by on the ground. Last week, Bashal Tutin saw 5 carries to Etienne's 14 carries. Tutin ran for 23 yards and a touchdown. He's seeing more inside the 5 work than Etienne. And I'm sure you remember, Pat, in the game like a month ago when they had committed to Tutin as maybe the lead back, he got injured. I think that's the plan, and I see him. I just want to say I see him being unleashed here against a Bills defense that will be without both of its starting defensive tackles.
This time it counts for Bashal Tutin in the playoffs. An interesting argument I wasn't expecting to hear. One Jaguars receiver. Who's your most roster Jaguars receiver this weekend?
I mean, Parker Washington, but he's going to be pretty popular.
He'll be pretty popular. Eagles, 49ers, not very popular. 2 teams that don't seem to really believe in themselves. But someone's got to win. They're playing each other. Reprising the 2023 NFC Championship game, the Eagles host a 49ers team that almost earned the number 1 seed, but enters the playoffs typically banged up. Trent Williams, the left tackle, is probably out. Ricky Pearsall, highly questionable. He's probably out, I bet. The Eagles have not exactly been a juggernaut, but is it fair to say they deserve their status as the weekend's second biggest favorite, Denny?
Yeah, Niners don't stand a chance here. I mean, they just don't. Like, without Trent Williams, they just can't do what they want to do here. Shanny will be like pulling the plug by the third quarter. And I mean, that's the way it goes with the 49ers. Things aren't going perfectly. It kind of all falls apart. I will say for DFS purposes, the 49ers pass at a 67% rate when trailing this season, which is one of the highest in the league. Wow. So it could be some volume there. But the thing is, the Eagles just shut down the middle of the field, which is the only place Brock Purdy throws, really, or at least throws successfully. That means, honestly, that like Christian McCaffrey is locked in to double-digit targets. Like that, there are going to be so many checkdowns to that guy here, especially a negative game script. Just keep that in mind. Now, CMC will be popular. Sometimes you got to eat the chalk.
But I will say, too, also, Trent Williams has apparently resumed practicing. I was going to add, like, this is the playoffs. Both Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall could play without practicing. Trent Williams now apparently is practicing. So maybe I spoke a little too soon and they won't be out there. But if they're out there, 2 key players who'd be very banged up. Because the reason you say they need Ricky Pearsall down the field, they need a downfield element. I feel like to truly have a chance to pull this off. And Pearsall, my guy, like cannot stay healthy.
No. I mean, he's probably going to have like off-season surgery or something. I mean,
he's multiple operations. What do you think the offensive approach for the Eagles is going to be? You kind of laid out what the 49ers want to normally do. What about the Eagles here?
49ers play one of the league's highest rate of 1 safety looks, right? One of the lowest rate of 2 high safety looks. Usually that means deep shots to A.J. Brown. So just keep that in mind when you're building lineups. So if you're predicting a lot of that, he comes down with a couple. That means big day for Jalen Hurts. That means big day for A.J. Brown. But also Devontae Smith is involved in that downfield game as well. So don't forget about him. I think that the Eagles can be and probably will be aggressive downfield here if they don't turtle, if they don't say, okay, we're just going to win this game 12-9 or whatever it is,
which I think they might want to do.
Yeah. I mean, very good. It's amazing, actually.
The Eagles, are so narrow on offense. The 49ers are a little bit more sprawling and like they're banged up. Any weird DFS guys in this game? It's actually not a great spot to be looking for weirdo plays, I feel like.
No.
Anyone that you do like.
I mean, it's just DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, he's running like half the routes and, I mean, air yards eater, downfield sprinter. He's getting a lot of cardio. So if Purdy uncorks one, it's probably to him. If Pearsall doesn't play, I should say. If Pearsall plays, don't cross him out. Okay, like he's seeing a ton of air yards every time he plays.
To go fully narrative based, I just agree with you that it's not looking good for the 49ers this one. They have to travel to Philadelphia too, and it's a narrative. Maybe this isn't actually true, but Shanny is like a wind in or out of a sales guy. I think he basically said, he apparently told his players that week 18 was more important than the next game, basically implying that if they didn't win week 18, they probably weren't going to win in the wild card round.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
He was basically saying we have to get this bye, and they did not get that bye. And I could see the 49ers, despite being in the playoffs, just not believing they could win this game. And I do think it's a kind of a nightmare setup for them.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think the Niners would set up okay against anyone else in the NFC.
Yeah, this is just a horrible, horrible spot for them. And Shanny seemed Shanny, play go on there like you can win. Like, please, you're the best play caller probably in the world. For once, try to score 50 points is maybe what do some trick plays. Does Shanny ever do a trick play?
No.
All he does a lot of motion. I guess Kyle Juszczyk's a trick play. Just do something. Empty the playbook, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, that's what it will take. It would take the game of Shanahan's life.
It will. It's going to take the game of his life to win this game. And so that's why we're moving on for him. We don't have anything else to say. Well, we'll be right back after this. The Chargers and Patriots quest for the Lombardi Trophy begins Sunday night in Foxborough. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America as we lead you up to kickoff in New England, only, of course, on NBC and Peacock. Struggling for respect as the AFC's number 2 seed, Denny, the Patriots are nevertheless field goal plus favorites against what could be a fatally flawed Chargers team. And we've heard all about the Patriots' historically easy schedule. It's a very true narrative. The Patriots played 3 teams that finished above 500. They went 1-2. That included a split with the Bills. So they haven't played anybody. They haven't beaten anybody. But is that kind of missing the forest for the trees? They soft schedule was put out in front of them. They utterly dominated it. They went 14-3. They have the AFC's best point differential. Are we underestimating the Patriots, or do you like a Bolts upset despite their offensive line issues?
I don't like the Chargers to win here, but I will say that the Chargers defense presents a unique challenge, I think, for Drake May. So just to start off with, the Chargers play 2 high safeties at the second highest rate in the NFL, right? So we've seen Drake May play against 2 high safeties, mostly twice this year against the Bills, who also use that coverage a lot. He didn't exactly tear up the Bills through the air. Now, for fantasy, he got away with it in the second game because he ran for 40-something yards.
Yeah, you see 2 high safeties, so man, take off and run.
Right. And he's a smart kid. He can still get there for fantasy, but generally he's been just tormenting teams that refuse to play 2 high safeties. So I have some stats here for that situation. So here's the thing. May still averaged 9.2 air yards per attempt against Buffalo, which means that he didn't stop pushing it downfield, right? I'm sorry, actually 11 air yards per game. His season average was 9.2. So he didn't stop. He kept doing it, and I respect him for that. Young man, you keep just throwing it to those 2 high safeties. But it does take kind of the sheen off of this New England offense a little bit. Stefon Diggs led the team by a long shot in targets per route run against that kind of coverage. So keep that in mind too. Lots of intermediate stuff for Diggs.
The Patriots, man, the schedule stuff was almost stunning. I came in to write in my article, this is an overplayed storyline, and I was like, oh wow.
Finally,
yeah. Wow.
Finally, I got you on board.
I haven't played a single soul. That's a bit interesting.
Schedule merchants.
I think it could continue though, because this Chargers offensive line might be the worst position group in the entire playoff field. It's such a problem. And then if they advance round 2, this is very riveting. Patriots. I'm just looking at my own article. If they make it through to round 2, Denny, they're playing one of Houston, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville most likely. I think the Jags would win that game, but a winnable game for the Patriots. And, the number one seeds, the Broncos, they're probably getting eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots could still end up in the Super Bowl despite being schedule merchants. But wow, were they schedule merchants? We were Travion Henderson merchants in fantasy, living off big plays. What's the state of Henderson versus Ramondre coming in the play? Ramondre playing very well down the stretch.
I don't love to say this, but Ramondre Stevenson has a much, much better fantasy role than Travion Henderson right now.
He does. It's inarguable.
Yeah. Stevenson over the final 3 games of the regular season ran around on 62% of the team's dropbacks. Henderson was at 21%. Henderson over those 3 games led the Patriots with 37 carries to 23 for Stevenson. But Stevenson saw most of the inside of the 10 work. So it's like with Travion Henderson, you're just hoping that he rips off a big play. And, that's a fair hope. Like, he's one of a handful of running backs who can turn any carry into a long touchdown. Stevenson can't do that despite what he did last week. So please stop, please ignore that footage against the Dolphins. Never happened. What was it?
It was a fiction. We made it up. It's a writer's invention.
They made it up.
Yeah, they made it up.
I still can't believe 7 carries for Stevenson and went for 130 some yards.
131 yards, 2 touchdowns.
So for DFS, if you're doing the May thing, right? You do May, Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, who's the air yards guy, excuse me, with Matt Collins on IR. So sorry.
This has been me, but I've been muted the entire time you've been speaking. I've been clearing my throat on mute.
And then Stevenson is catching the passes. So Stevenson would be a natural stacking partner with May.
So that's the last word on the Patriots backfield. Do you like any Chargers pass catchers at this point? Or, no. Someone's going to score points, but it's so jumbled. It's such a rotation. They're introducing new guys. Like Trey Harris didn't need to be introduced to the rotation, but he has been. I know. Anyone you like in particular in this spot? No. The targets are so spread out. The air yards are so spread out, and the volume is just not there. And now the Patriots over the past 6 weeks have really profiled as a run funnel defense. The Chargers want nothing more than to run the ball, not to take the ball out of Herbert's hands, but to keep him safe behind an offensive line that can't protect him right now. So the game plan, I think, will be run heavy for the Chargers. I just don't know how any of the Chargers pass catchers get there in that scenario. Someone will, but I think it's just going to be random. It's going to be like who's open, basically. It'll be something you just can't really predict. Well, it'd be Quentin Johnston probably, because he has the chance to go over the top, and do it all in one play. Whereas Ladd McConkey would need to get volume, lots of intermediate stuff. He's not really seeing the downfield looks. That's some good analysis on the situation. You say they want to be run heavy. Omarion Hampton is not practicing with an ankle injury. He's going to play probably. It seems like he's a little bit actually questionable, though. Does that make him, even if he does play, does that make him like a tough DFS trust just because we have no clue what the state of his health really is? Yes. But the Patriots' run defense has been soft enough where I think you can kind of lean into that. The Pats' run defense has softened up. They were really stopping the run early in the year. Yeah. That was a long time ago. Yeah, they have, and injuries, but every team's dealing with injuries. No team has faced a lower pass rate over expected since week 11 than New England. I did not really realize the way they had softened up against the run. Yeah, that's pretty interesting information, actually. Teams are attacking them pretty much every week on the ground. Hampton has the last time he played had a really solid RB1 role over Kamani Vidal. If he misses here, which I don't think he will, but if he does, Vidal becomes like a really nice play. But then again, he's going to be like, as Kyle would say, Giga Chalk. Giga Chalk. That's music to my ears. I want the Giga Chalk. I want to eat it. Chalk tastes very good. Any final thoughts on this game, or are we on to the final game, Denny? No. Yeah, I mentioned Kayshon Boutte. Don't forget him, because him and Matt Collins were splitting the air yards downfield. And that's no more. So Kayshon has the whole role. Don't forget about Keyshawn Booney. Don't forget about Texans Steelers, last but not least. Intriguing game. It's the weekend's second biggest mismatch on paper. Denny, I would say like talent disparity, like how they were playing down the stretch, but it's not the second biggest mismatch according to the spread. Houston's just a field goal favorite on the road, just quote unquote. You still like being a field goal favorite on the road in the playoffs. Houston has been elite down the stretch. But are they good enough to be solid road favorites like they are as a field goal favorite in Pittsburgh, Denny?
I think so, and it's because the Texans are not afraid to, if you want to say it this way, establish the pass. Okay, so they're not afraid to like get by with the pass and then go to the run game, which is a nice little change from what we're used to seeing from typically like hyper conservative teams, and because they have Nico Collins, and Nico Collins profiles as the kind of receiver that really just torments the Pittsburgh secondary. I looked at the biggest games, the biggest receiver games against the Steelers this season, and it looks an awful lot like Nico Collins. Okay, a big, fast boundary receiver. So you have Alec Pierce, big game against the Steelers. Christian Watson, big game. Justin Jefferson, big game. He did have a big game. And T Higgins also had a big game against the Steelers in 2025. The Steelers have opponents have they've taken full advantage of a secondary that plays only one high safety at the NFL's highest rate. I think the Texans are going to know that, and they're going to really hammer it with Nico Collins, who's healthy. He's healthy for now. I think he should have a pretty good game here.
The Texans have not lost since Halloween weekend. They've lost twice since September. Have the best defense in the AFC, maybe not in the NFL because the Seahawks exist, but the offense has been so much better down the stretch. They've got young players who've been playing better, like Jaden Higgins. They're a young team, but they're experienced. They've won a playoff game each the past 2 years. They are a team that can make a run to the Super Bowl. But they're handicapped they're on the road. They might have to play 3 road games to get there. But this is a team that can reach the Super Bowl. Partly because they're starting with a soft matchup. The Steelers took everything they had to get here. They did do it without DK Metcalf. They're getting back their only viable offensive weapon. Are they doing anything truly well on offense right now? Any viable way for them to exploit this just elite Houston Texans defense?
So for a few weeks there, they had opened it up in that like their total team air yards, the Steelers' total team air yards went from like the lowest in the league to like the 10th lowest. But it was a pretty big change, and it was enough to give DK Metcalf like a ceiling. Like he was actually, his profile looked more like a wide receiver 1-ish, right? In fantasy. They're not going to be able to do that here because the Texans lead the league in quick pressures and lead the league in quarterback pressures without blitzing. And that's kind of passes the eye test as well. You'll rarely see Houston blitz, but they're always getting to the quarterback. Now, this whole Steelers offense is predicated on elder millennial Aaron Rodgers never getting hit, right? Which I get, Aaron. If you're listening, I understand. As a guy who is,
you don't want to crumple into a heap of ash. We get it. I'm
6 months older than you. I understand. So it's going to be quick passes the entire game here. So does Metcalf have a ceiling? I don't think so. I think it's just a lot of Kenny Gainwell, and it's a lot of like Freiermuth and the tight ends. Not very inspiring.
Just throw a slant to DK Metcalf every play and see if he scores a touchdown on it is what I would do. Just get loose for a 72-yard slant score. You mentioned Kenneth Gainwell. Warren versus Gainwell. How's that shaking out right now? Gainwell, very, very involved down the stretch.
He is. Now, I don't want to like dismiss what's not Gainwell. Who's the other guy?
Jaylen Warren.
Jaylen Warren. I could think of Jalen, but I couldn't. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to dismiss Warren, but Gainwell has taken a pretty good lead in route rates, 35 targets over his past 6 games. Like I said, I think there will be so many just like 3-step, just quick shots to like the perimeter. That's Gainwell's thing, right? The full PPR format of DraftKings makes Gainwell a little more interesting. I think Gainwell will probably be significantly more rostered than Jaylen Warren. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, fantasy football players can never quit Jalen Warren would be my only retort to that. And Gainwell, it was like kind of a late breaking development in the regular season, but maybe people haven't really internalized just how involved he has been.
Yeah.
But the field is pretty smart at this point. Gainwell probably will be more rostered than Jalen Warren would be my guess.
Yeah. I mean, also Gainwell's been targeted on 28% of his routes over the past 4 games. That's like a really high percentage. It basically means that like there are lots of plays designed for him as the first read guy in this offense.
Any final words on the Houston Texans and DFS, including their backfield?
Okay. If you're going to go in on a Stroud stack, it's going to be ugly. You're not going to feel good about it. Pat would never, ever do it.
Nope. Cade Stover, is he active?
But wait, but if you do it, you got to do it all the way. So you got Stroud, you got Nico Collins.
Yeah, I know who you're going to say.
You got Jaden Higgins, and maybe Dalton Schultz.
I thought you were going to say Christian Kirk. It's like, all right.
No.
Kirk. Yeah, I am.
No. Higgins, 13 air yards per target. I mean, he's
been cooking, man. He's been cooking.
Well, without Nico Collins last week, he was like the wide receiver one by a large margin. So if Stroud has a big game, more than Collins is going to come along. Just know that.
I'll probably be putting Higgins in a lot of lineups. I'll say. I was really worried you were going to say Christian Kirk.
No.
Where I thought that was going. All right.
No, I'm sick, but I'm not that sick.
Yeah, you're not that sick. Any final thoughts, or do we put the 6-game slate to bed?
I think we figured it out.
We figured it out. 6 wonderful games. 2 new teams joining us next week. Seattle Seahawks, Denver Broncos, a new analyst, Kyle Dvorchak, will be back. Not with the Buckeyes win. Sorry, Kyle. They're
messed up.
Sure, they're working the portal hard. That's all Ryan Day really cares about anyway. Doesn't actually want to win. Just wants to pay players at this point. So we'll see what happens to the Kyle's Buckeyes in the offseason. We'll see what happens in the NFL this weekend. Again, Sunday night on NBC. Los Angeles Chargers, New England Patriots. Denny's DFS breakdowns live on the site. My playoff power rankings are on the site. Check those out if you have not already done so. For Denny Carter, I'm Patrick Daugherty. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you Sunday evening.